And welcome everyone to Fright Night. Oh, you know, that's my next one, but this is Freaky Tales. So once again, I want to thank everybody for our Freaky Friday, Freaky Tales. Once again, before I introduce my very special guest, who is no stranger to Freaky Tales podcast, there's just a couple of things I want to announce. And I know some of you are probably going to be very upset with me, but this will be our last Freaky Tales until possibly the beginning of the year. Okay, I got a lot of things on my plate right now, and I need to make some time. So if you guys are upset with me, please forgive me. But as of right now, this will probably be my last Freaky Tale until the beginning of the year. So please bear with me. And when we do come back, we'll have some great content. So, but other than that, I want to thank everybody that's tuned in, everybody who's liked, subscribed, everybody on the comments, everybody on the live chat, everybody who likes and dislikes, and those of you that are just here lurking to see what I have to say, welcome. So other than that, I want to introduce my very good friend that traveled a long way. Lady, how are you?
My broomstick is tired. No.
Yeah.
I am awesome. And yes, I'm one of the people that are upset this is going to be the last, but I definitely know you have a lot of great things coming up for you. But people try to stop, they couldn't,
yes,
and they can't.
Yes.
And so this is great for your viewers about what is to come up next.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. You know, this is the Friday right before Halloween. Yes. And I'll be honest too, it's kind of bittersweet because I love Halloween, and I always tell my viewers that Halloween for me starts in September. Yeah. Okay, you know, I just love it. It's my favorite holiday. I wish we could have Halloween twice a year.
Oh yes.
You know, but it only comes around on October 31st. So, any plans before we get into it that you have possibly on Halloween night?
I have a lot of plans, so many plans, so many things to prepare for. We get together with the family. Pumpkin carving is
yes,
one of our biggest thing. I mean, my house looks like a pumpkin patch.
Awesome, awesome.
We actually brought a little pumpkin for you.
I saw that. I saw that. Something I get to carve.
Yes. And our pumpkins particularly, we like to bless them and pray over them.
Awesome.
Because on Halloween, or it's funny that you said September, because anywhere from September until November is when the veils are open. So what this particularly means is that this is when you're able to communicate better with your loved ones. People start seeing more apparitions during this time. Mm-hmm. Portals are definitely open.
Wow.
Only because of the planetary alignments.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a really special day, and this is why people decided to dress up in Halloween. So the demons didn't see them, or the goblins, or things like that. So
okay. So yeah, it's a disguise.
It's a disguise. The jack-o'-lantern represents protection.
Okay.
And it's to chase away all the bad energy, but then also to be a light to the good energy as well.
Okay, then I think I had to put that candle, leave it here 24/7 to get rid of all the. And you had also brought me another gift.
Yes, and this one here is a very special gift. So
okay, let me see. Let me take it out.
During this time, my birthday is coming up. I'm not gonna say when.
Oh, okay.
But this is my gift to you. This is actually.
I have a stone.
You have a stone in there.
Okay.
And
a card.
Oh, that's my card. Never forget me.
Okay. Yes, definitely not. And then I also have a candle.
Okay. Now this candle is very powerful, and people are like, "What? The size? Size don't matter."
Yeah.
This candle is a birthday wish candle. So everybody who's ever celebrated a birthday and they claim that they don't do witchcraft, you lie, because in that birthday candle is powerful magic. So this candle will go ahead and ignite your beginning of what it is to come. So it's just crazy that you had told me that this was going to be your last podcast of Freaky Tales, and I'm like, he definitely needs this candle. So
awesome.
It's like a road opener, and it also blocks a lot of negative energy that wants to try to hit you. And that is something I would like to discuss today, is about energy.
Yeah. You know, let me put this away, because I think talking about energy it's very, very important because I believe, growing up, I never heard the word, negative energy, bad energy. We always heard he's good, he's bad, or something along those lines. But as I got older, and just more as of recently, I began to hear negative energy, or that person brings negative energy. I've known people that for some reason, when they speak, it almost feels like it releases something. I've been around people that it almost felt like they had a cloud of negative energy around them that when you walk in, it's so thick you can almost cut it with a knife because it's just so much negative that it's almost like you can feel it.
Yeah.
I've had friends. I'll give you a quick example before you run free with this. At my old job, when I was working here in the city of Compton, there was a guy there that all he did was just spew negative energy out of his mouth. And it got to the point where I knew people that considered themselves to be atheists who didn't believe in God. Some people that were agnostics that didn't believe in God or deny God. They were kind of like in the middle. But they would all tell me, Tone, do not go over there. Why is that? There's a cloud of negative energy over there. Yep. And I would go over there and I would feel it.
Yeah.
And at times I would actually even see it in the person. Yeah. And I've always wondered, how long has that person lived with that?
Yeah. Well, this is why during the holiday season, you notice how some people dread going to their family's houses. Okay. So it's supposed to be a family time of get together, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of that. Like people are supposed to get together and be unified. They're supposed to love one another, break bread together, but they don't want to go.
Yeah.
They don't want to go because something has happened or is happening within that household that is just nothing but negativity.
Yeah. And
people feed off of that negativity. So this is what I try to do. Like, I know, like, even with my own personal family, there's been cousins or things where we're just like, but we got to just shake it off and say, no, you know what? I love those people. I love them. They're my family. They're there. The reason why they come at me with things is because they love me. They care about me. They say something. So you try to transmute that energy into something more positive.
Yes.
And you don't got to sit there and wallow in that negative energy, And I keep telling people the way to diffuse negative energy is you don't fight fire with fire. Because it's just going to cause a bigger bonfire.
Yes.
And people are always like, oh, you're a witch. You could go around hexing and cursing. That's not what we do all day. Our main goal is to see people elevated, to want to see the better. We're healers. We love the earth. We love the planet. We try to take care of as much as we can.
Yes.
But we get such a bad rap because of this negative energy.
Yes.
And it's such a shame,
It is, and if you can help us, let's just say that there's somebody watching right now and they say something like, you know what, I got a father or I have a brother or I have a sister, and every time they're around, I feel that negative energy. It's like they release it. It's almost like there's nothing positive in them. Now, here's the question. How did they get like that?
Right. It's a good question. A lot of people end up being the negative Nancy or the nitpicker is because they don't really feel appreciated or loved majority of the time.
Okay.
So, I'll never forget, my grandfather, he owned his own business. He ran things, and because I was so close, I was like a daughter to him. I'd run to him because, get out of here, but I would do it anyway. But I see all my other cousins, and I thought, why is he like that with me? Why is he harder on me? And then one day he told me, he goes, it's because I love you so much. I just want better. And I'm like, okay. But I was helping him with the office and all this stuff because I saw him every single day. Right. So he felt more free to express himself to me rather than some of my own cousins because he didn't have that connection. So a lot of it, people just feel closer to somebody where they can feel like I can say something to them.
Right.
Because I really do love them. And I always get a lot of teenagers, that are like rebelling and I want to be a witch because my mother doesn't appreciate me. And it's like, no. Then you're just missing the mark.
Yeah.
So you're...
Now, okay, we'll come back. But on a side note, when you said, I want to be a witch, when people say that, do you believe that being a witch, it's a calling? Or do you think somebody can learn to be a witch? I ask that because I don't know. And I'm sure there's people out there listening that are wondering, can you just like say, okay, I'm going to be a witch? Or do you believe, no, it's a calling?
I really feel it is a calling, but we like to share things, meaning that, everybody says, I have a gift of being psychic, I have a gift of that. That's great. Everybody has those little gifts that they have, but like the world, they'll call me a prophet when I was, in the churches, or they'll call me a witch in the world. Uh-huh. And there's very, very intense tests that you have to pass. Meaning your psychic ability, your ability to push energy. So you're constantly being tested, especially within my coven. We're like 9,000 strong. Wow. So it's a very huge coven. And actually, I brought my pins too. So each pin represents a 10-year.
Oh, okay.
So this is,
Right.
been at it quite a while.
so would let's just say you're walking around the mall and you're wearing that. And if somebody who practices or who is a witch, would they be able to know what that is?
Well, this is just particularly for my own coven. So my coven members would see and they would acknowledge, my rank. Okay. But I've had my gifts as a child. Right. So, when people say, we have this gift or that gift, we actually have a table that we sit at. And so we take case by case. And, do we have permissions to do this, permissions to do that? What's your feel on this person? And it's like a unanimous vote. Are we going to work with this client or are we not? Because it depends on the energy that each member is getting from this particular person. So that's how we keep balance within our coven. I know there's a lot of other covens out there. They do things differently. Okay. But ours is... very ancient. Okay. Our coven laws have been etched and sewn since, I would say, like biblical times. All right. So we follow those laws and those commandments. People are like, witches, we don't have laws and things. Yes, we do. Because if we're out there casting negative energy on people, there's the rule of 3, that whatever we point at somebody, we have 3 fingers pointing right back at us. True. Yeah. So it's very important that we keep our coven strong by always being, trying to be helpful, loving, and finding the best solution for the whole picture. Not just that person, their family, their friends, their business, whatever it is. We want to make sure that there's a balance, okay? A balance within the universe. Okay.
Now, I believe, like I said, anytime you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going to share what I think, not what I know. I think that there are people that carry that negative energy within them, and then is it possible? Now, here's the question. Is it possible that maybe a home, a certain room, a certain building, or even a work, that there's already negative energy there?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. This is why realtors call me up. People that have inherited properties or people that have lived in a property. Mm-hmm. They're like, do you feel something here? I mean, I can say yes, and I want people to know this, okay? So if you're going to call anybody, a witch, me, whoever, you want to make sure you find out firsthand first. So there are things like called EMF devices, spirit boxes. Uh-huh. There are different things, candles, flashlights. Okay. Yeah. There's different things that you can do to like first test yourself, or first test the area to see if there is something. But then if you say, yeah, I've seen something, and you come to me, lady, I've seen this, or I've seen this apparition. Well, just for the client, I'm going to bring those devices as well, because we don't start anything until we make sure there is something there. Like me, I could pick up energies, but you see, that could be hearsay. And so this is where I am very different from a lot of other witches. A lot of other witches were like, oh, I feel there is a certain energy around you and it's negative and you've carried it for 25 years, And I'm like, yeah, right, lady.
And for $25, I can...
I can remove it.
Right.
$2,500,
Yes. Now, is there... And again, I'm just asking for audience as if they were asking. Is there witches that scam people for...
Absolutely. And there are people that in the coven that try to do that as well. I mean, there is one particular Coven member on YouTube that she really don't care. And are we going to be mad at her? No, we're not. Because if you want to play witch, sometimes it's just, a lot of fakers are giving witches a bad name. Okay. So if you see a lot of these, oh, you can curse your boyfriend, or you can curse your family member, or you can do this, they are actually deliberately leading people that you reap what you sow. Because you're trying to do something to hurt somebody.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So then, of course, something bad is going to happen to you. And then you got to call the witch, and then, hey, well, now you have to pay to get it removed. Because your intent wasn't good. Your intent was to hurt somebody, and now you're going to pay. Now you're going to pay through your money. Now you're going to pay because of this. There's always things to kind of transmute energy. Let's say there's a really bad guy that's with your daughter and you don't like it. So I'm not going to hex the guy,
right?
You know, unless he's beating her or whatever. You know, there's a little gray area.
Right.
But instead, I mean, I can pull somebody to take him away, which is more positive. And then I can send her somebody like 10 times as better. And you're happy and everybody's happy and this guy is like way better. And what comes back to me is positive energy.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, you know, can this be interpreted as negative energy or just a negative person, or maybe it's the same? I've known people, certain family members, certain friends that, you know, like, for example, I'll just use the name Bobby. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? I'm just fucking hanging, bro. So how's life, man? If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have luck at all, man. You know, today fucking sucks. And smile, man. What was there to fucking smile about? And that's their whole life.
Yeah.
Now, is that just a negative person, or is that negative energy in him, or like it could be possibly a mixture, maybe?
I would first, what I pick up from people is their mental capacity, because our bodies are made of energy. And we have something in our brain called a synapses. A synapses is kind of like the spark in engine combustion. So we run on a timer, believe it or not. Okay. So if there's like a misfire, sometimes people may come out angry, depressed, just not off balance. So I try to feel that energy first. And I do energy work, so I'm able to map out certain things in a person's body, and I can tell what's happening, joint pain, brain misfiring, what's causing that person to be in a mood, okay? Because just like pets and animals, why people bring their pets to me, they're not going to tell you.
Right.
So, okay, so that's for me. But people are like, oh, he was just born that way. Well, maybe there was things that happened to him. Maybe there was things that, you know, he's just not mentally developed right, you know, so you got to really be sensitive towards those kind of things. And some people that carry a lot of negative energy, no lie, I really embrace those people, and I'm going to tell you why. Because your friends will always lie to you. So you go to a club or you go whatever, and you're like, oh my God, is my makeup good? Oh my God, you look wonderful, you know?
Yes.
And then there's a person like, dude, you got something on your teeth. Really, go fix it. And you're just like, oh, thank you. You know, that's why I love my haters, you know, because I take constructive criticism, you know? Right. And I'm like, all right, doesn't mean that I'm, you know, got to change drastically, but still, I like to hear both ends of the spectrum, you know? And sometimes negative people can really push things.
Yes.
And they can open up doors with that energy. Yeah. You know, like driving over here, for instance, there was like all this traffic and there was these tailgaters, but the tailgater was pushing all the traffic for me. So I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Don't tailgate.
Yeah, don't. You know, I've known people that after a while, I've like come here and I've told like my team, like, you know what, I can't be around that person no more. I mean, just to go get something to eat or go into the liquor store to get in some, you know, a couple of beers and coming back, everything, like the whole car was filled with his negative energy of him just, it almost seems like, I don't know if they get off on it, but just talking about people. oh, that bitch. You know, I'm sorry for the cursing, but I'm just trying to be plain.
Yeah, some people do love that. They love the attention. There's the attention seekers.
You know.
And then there's a different type of energy. There's those that have been cast on.
Cast on.
What I mean by that is somebody did some black on them that they themselves don't know what's happening.
That's a good one. Okay. They themselves, and that's one thing that I asked someone here that believed in demonic possession, and I asked them, is it possible that a person could be possessed and not know it? And he said, yes. You know, so I'm glad that you said, because somebody could have cast that, possibly that on them, and then not know why they are the way they are.
Right.
You know. Yeah, but like I said, I've been around people that it almost felt like a bad like massage on my shoulders, like being around them. I'm like, and it got to the point where I just told him, look, you know what, bro? I said, my ears are not garbage cans, bro.
Right.
You talked about 10 people just on 3 blocks away and back.
Yeah.
You know, well, I just don't like those mother, you know, and I just.
Yeah, but I would say that would be a person of a product of their environment.
Yeah.
They grew up in a household like that, you know, they hear all this stuff and then they don't really know any better. Like your great grandmother's friends and neighbors, for instance, you know. Oy, Chelina, mire ella, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at her, you know, and they know everybody's business in the neighborhood, and you don't even leave the house. And they know everything about you.
There's people like that right now on social media. Yes.
Yeah. And they thrive off of it.
They really do thrive. And honestly, sometimes, like when I see people post stuff, say things, and point fingers at people, I'm like, you really have all this time on your hands to do this.
Right.
Like.
And that's the sad part of this world. I mean, this is something that really, really breaks my heart, because people are like, why are people so sensitive nowadays?
Yes.
Race, color, beliefs, you know, and then there's these fake dramatic acts on TV, you know, like a woman screaming racist stuff, and you can totally tell it was acted.
Yes.
But these people that are just thriving for this live drama, they're feeding into it. And a lot of the government is starting to do that.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we had COVID, right? And what were these people doing? They were starting to loot and riot in the street. And there was people intentionally set in these positions to cause negative energy.
I believe that, yes.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, there was these peaceful protests, and then there was these, you know, people trying to instigate stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, if you burn down that store, that's people's grocery markets. Those are people's things. And guess what we have to depend on? The COVID check, the economy feeding us. You know, if the markets were to shut down in one day, what would you do? What would your household do? Do you have a backyard that has anything to grow things? You know, or do you have chickens? You would be in a total world of chaos.
Yeah.
Because we are taught to be dependent. I like when people say, oh, I'm so independent, I have this, I have that. And I'm like, yeah, so if the world were to shut down in one day, where would you be? You can't eat your money.
You're absolutely right. It doesn't matter how much money you have at home. And I think about this one. What if social media would have shut down?
Exactly.
A lot of these male and females wouldn't be able to survive.
Right.
You know, I've gone places where we didn't get reception. Okay, maybe to go do a show or some type of an event, and there were guys upset. Man, I cannot, dude. It doesn't work out here. And for hours outside walking around trying to get some, and I'm like, dude, I come from a generation where we didn't need this, man.
Right.
But try teaching that to someone from this generation that was born dependent on this.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. I mean, here, a lot of media platforms, yes, you make a lot of money, okay? And, you know, that's why I say, you know, I like the positive channels. I like the things that are, like, really talking good about something. Like here, for instance, oh, my God, I just got to thank all the fans of Freaky Tales. I have got so much positive feedback. Like, I know we hear the negative.
Right.
But, my God, I'm still answering emails since the last shows.
That's awesome.
And I'm just like, and people have said, Lady, I really did what you said, or, you know, I got a reading from you, or I was listening to what you said, and you know what, I just made a change, and everything was so much different. Like they stopped being negative.
And that's
I
a good
love hearing
thing
that
that they were willing to change. Because there's some people like, what does she know? and we'll sit here for 2 hours and watch us.
Right.
You know, I'm like, I don't. You just sat for 2 hours and what?
Just trying to find something. Oh,
yes,
right there.
Yeah, she's a fake witch. I had a couple of guys that hit me up. I wouldn't have her there. She's fake. And I said, bro, and you're real? Like seriously? So.
Well, like I said, I've even had witches come to me and tell me, I'm a lot stronger than you. And I'm like, ooh, okay, well, that's why you're there and I'm here, right? No, but
yeah. Like I don't get it. Like, are you supposed to be a Jedi? Like I use more of the Force than you? Like, don't worry about her. What you doing worrying about her?
It's crazy.
Now, let's get back just really quickly to, let's just say that somebody emails you. I know that your Instagram is up, so they can contact you through the DM, and also through Facebook, if I'm correct.
Absolutely.
Okay. Say hypothetically that I'm a guy watching right now, and I first of all recognize, which is a good sign, that I recognize that I'm a negative person. Nobody wants to be around me. All I do is spew hate. All I do is talk bad about people. I never look on the bright side of things. It's always bad for me. Mm-hmm. So I decided to contact you, and I ask you, lady, I think possibly that somebody put something on me because I'm just negative all the time, and I don't know what it is. Is that something that, like, can a person like you help remove?
Absolutely. I've had actually callers call me up and they tell me, I have dreams, or I've had this since I was young and I don't know why I'm so angry all the time.
Yes.
And the first question I said is, when did you start noticing this? When did you start noticing it? I've had a couple callers that have said, well, my family was into brujerias. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Everybody says, I got it because my mother was a witch and my grandma was a witch, and this is why I'm so negative. That's not necessarily the fact. I want to know about personality.
Yeah.
Okay, they're a witch, but how were they talking to you when you grow up?
Yeah.
Were they your biggest cheerleader? And so a lot of it is generational curses. So I really try to hear a person's heart before making any moves. If people say, you know what, it just started in my 20s. Like, I just didn't feel like getting up. I felt, what's the point? I felt, this just not happening for me. And I'm like, okay, this sounds like a case for me. And but before they even open up their mouths, I can pretty much feel the energy.
Right. Okay.
I'm a cheater,
Okay. Hey.
But this is how we try to train our coven. We listen for certain signs and things as to a person's personality, and we try to get the big picture because not all of us have the gifts like I do.
Yes.
Yes, I am a very unique witch. Very rare do I meet people with my gifts, and so like you had said, is being a witch, you have to be born into it. But no, you can also be around other witches that are doing something positive, and you can learn to actually develop those gifts. Okay.
Earlier you said, I think we have such a bad rap. See, this is me from the outside looking in. When I hear witch, we think of something evil.
Right.
Right away. Like, to me, that's attached to it. We think about the wicked witch from the east, or from the Wizard of Oz, or we think broomsticks, Halloween hats and candy corn,
wicked witch from Widmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So why do you think that there's always been such a bad name stuck to the name witch?
Because this actually had to go back long back to like Celtic times, to when the Roman Catholic Church started up. Number one, churches bring in a lot of money,
big time,
a lot of money. I mean, Caesar and Catholicism, they run based off of donation. Mm-hmm. So there was a holiday, and I don't want to be politically incorrect because I get all this controversy, so I'll just keep it basic of what the holiday was. There was a holiday that was conflicting with All Saints Day, or they tried to make it All Saints Day to take away from what the witches were celebrating.
Okay.
And This particular holiday was because of harvest. So during the harvest season, things die. Plants die, animals die because of the cold. And so, pagans would build these big bonfires, and they would actually try to do blessings to usher in a better, more fruitful season. So that was frowned upon the church, because people were starting to say, oh yeah, my harvest, and we got to do this, we got to do that. They said, no. We're going to do an All Saints Day. And that's when they started to take over the pagan holidays. So it's so funny, because Halloween is actually a Christian holiday. It never was a pagan holiday.
Okay.
But
see, that probably confused a lot of people right now.
I know, right?
Yeah. But it's okay. Keep
History
going.
101. So they started doing things, All Saint Days, and then they started to say, it's because your family's in purgatory and you have to pray this certain amount of time. But then in the meantime, what are people doing? They're going to church more. They're tithing more.
Yeah.
They are
giving more offerings.
Giving more offerings. They're buying these oils or sages or whatever. But the sage and the frankincense and the myrrh, oh gosh, that's witchcraft. So why does the Catholic Church do it? You
right.
know? And why is it okay for them to light candles and pray, but a witch is just frowned upon? It's because they're trying to take away the audience. Churches are built on donation, and it's the people that fund, that keep things going. Yeah. So we also do in our coven, we tithe as well, but our finances go back into the community big time. I mean, there's so many programs and so many things we build and we raise and that we support to better humanity. Okay. Which, you can't say, I'm not going to knock Catholics, because I've seen them pay people's light bills or hospital bills and things like that. So I don't want to get into controversy about religion. He said, she said, whatever. I'm just talking about the history, about what it was back then. So even witches, there's witchcraft, which comes from the word pharmakia. Yes. And if you break down the word pharmakia, if you go buy medicine or you need a cold medicine or something, where are you going to buy it at? A
pharmacy.
Pharmacy. Yes. Right. So this is what witches did. We would make medicines, the roots, the plants, put medicines together. And because we would heal people through these things, they are a witch. So that was like, we were being murdered for that. But then yet at the same time, we're being taken for what we had that would cure things. Right. And guess what? We did this because we prayed, and now we have this. Just like weed, for instance, I hate to bring that up, but there's healing proprieties and there's the abuse of it all. But all of a sudden the government says, you know what, this is just helping people. We need to put a brand on it. So we're going to legalize it, and now we're going to build all these different dispensaries, So what did they just do? They just took it from the people, and now they put $1 on it. Yes. You cannot grow your own weed. You have to buy it now. Yeah. So,
and we'll just put medicated or as medicine. Right? That, look, I remember in the I don't know if it was early 90s or mid 90s, where they were actually considering legalizing crack because it was so. Right. So that was a pandemic. That was an epidemic that was going on, that so many people were falling into the pipe, smoking, freebasing, and the government was considering it. And then I remember I saw a debate where one guy said, well, the streets are always going to have the best. And one guy said, no, sir. He says, we're the U.S. government. We will have the best. And
that is true.
Very, very, very true. Now, so if somebody, once again, wants to reach out to you, they can reach you through your DM. Your Instagram is up, and if they don't see it for some reason, it'll be on the description after the video is posted. And Facebook as well, because I do believe that there are people out there watching that are probably watching with possibly their wife, or a wife watching with a sister, and somebody's looking at them like that's you they're talking about because you're always negative.
I have had so many calls, and I'm not going to say any names. Right. I had this really awesome call. Okay, this woman, she had an addiction problem. Okay, and she had a really supportive husband, and he reached out to me for help. You know, what can I do for her? And I'm like, well, you just need to love her, because she was internally trying to fight this addiction, but she had a lot of trust issues.
Okay.
Because she was doing such shady stuff to him, and she always felt treachery. You know, because I'm doing this, karma's going to hit me. It's going to come back to me. I know he's going to cheat. And I'm like, what you're doing is you're projecting that negative energy on him to do that. And the more you keep fighting with him, and the more you keep badgering, you know, eventually he will do this. But as to what I read in him and in the cards, this man loves you, because, I mean, he's trying to say, I need help. That's how much he loved her. So when I started to really talk to her, and I talked to them as a couple over the phone, oh my God, I could hear the tears. I could hear the I love yous, and I'm like, okay, you know, I gotta go, you know. But later on, they text me and they sent me a DM that they're actually now having a new wedding and they have a new baby on the way.
That's awesome.
And her trust issue is like they're 100%. I mean, she's like, your show, you know, Tony, like, you know, you're so amazing that you've had this, because if it wasn't for your show, this man would be lost. And just imagine, I mean, he would just be struggling every day with the fighting, and then eventually end up cheating because all of that negativity coming at him. Yeah. And the same thing with girls, you know, my boyfriend doesn't trust me, and my boyfriend doesn't this and that, you know. And then we begin to sit down and talk, and, you know, I give them options. See, one thing about cards is nothing is etched in stone. I get the message, but it's up to you to make the changes. So right. I tell them, hey, this will happen unless you make some serious changes here. And the next thing you know, they're like, oh my God. And then I'm doing live Zoom chats too. Okay.
Oh, okay, great.
So one thing, you guys will see the cards when you do, you know, set a session with me. So I'm live, and so I'm on Zoom. So as I'm doing the cards, you're seeing exactly what I'm pulling. My cards are very simple. They're not like the Ten of Swords, and I do, which I could do those two, whatever. But I like to keep it simple, because I'm feeling the message, and then the cards are just my tool. So then I start to shuffle, and I tell them, okay, tell me when to stop, and then they're like, stop, and then I'll start showing the cards. Everything I said exactly just starts coming out like that, because it's their energy that's charging the session. Right.
Have you ever read somebody's cards and you're just like, oh shoot, and it's just negative? Yeah. Can you get that from the cards?
Yep. So, like, first I'll fool the person, and I tell them, you know, go ahead and shuffle the deck, and everything is in reverse. Okay. And some people think that reverse cards are all bad, but if I start getting lots of reverse, that means they're getting hit from every single area. Their money, their finances, their health, their home. Like, everything is just breaking down, and they're like, oh my God, you're exactly on the point. And so I said, okay, so now I did the health. And so now let's start looking deeper, you know. People are like, you know, I keep feeling like you're going to be missing a limb. I don't know why you're going to have the surgery done. And then all of a sudden it comes out to, you know what, Spirit says to me, they need to change their eating. Type 2 diabetes can be reversed, believe it or not.
Okay.
So a lot of people with these curable ailments that they're finding out, they're starting to come to me now. They're like, you know what, I don't want to take insulin no more. I don't want to do this. I want to know what you did. I want to know, you know, because now I've been diagnosed. And so I just start telling them, you know, it's all about mind, body, and spirit. There's certain cancers out there that are actually being defeated. There's some really great programs that are starting to come aboard, and it's all about natural, holistic type medicines, all positive. See, because these man-made drugs, you got to remember, I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, and somebody's going to get so mad because I'm going to spill the beans. This is all about population control, okay? If people are starting to live longer, and this world is starting to get filled up, and I just had something happen where I lost a very close loved one of mine, and they said their sickness has gone too far, and we just have to let it be and take them home and let them be comfortable. And I was flabbergasted. Like, it was like, you guys aren't going to do anything, you know, to help the situation. And they're like, no, next.
Yeah.
And some of the doctors are so burnt out, but it's just like, on to the next case. So this is why I try to teach people about prevention. And this is what the cards are for. This is why I'm here. I honestly feel, Tony, that I am here to intercede as a prevention for humanity. And pretty soon, you people have the ultimate control. And I want to talk to you guys also about the Squid Games.
Okay.
This has a very powerful message in it.
Okay. We got a couple of minutes before we go to break. We'll start the second segment with that. Okay. I really want to touch on that, but I want to come back to the energy because the last time, I don't know if it was the last, because this is your third time here.
Yes.
I believe it was the first time that somebody emailed me. Instead of DMing me, they emailed me and they asked me to ask you a question. And now what I'm about to ask came from someone, and I'm paraphrasing because it was a long one.
Okay.
This person asked me, is it possible that objects, because we talked about possibly buildings, rooms, work, your workspace, or people can carry negative energy? He said, is it possible that objects can carry negative energy? And that was the question. And then he goes on to tell the story. And let me just kind of briefly share what he said. That he brought home a statue of something called Santa Muerte. Okay. And he brought it home. Somebody sold him the idea that fortune is going to come your way, some type of deal. And he was I'm just kind of reading it. And he just said that it got to the point where it caused him his relationship with his girl. Mm-hmm. Things just started getting worse in his life. He said, I got rid of it, like I threw it away. He goes, I felt really bad, almost to the point where I should not have done that. He goes, I felt that, so I went back to the place where I threw it away, and it was somebody had smashed it up. So I just took a piece back home. He said, just so I could have some. He said, so I could somehow feel a little bit more comfortable with it. He said, but I feel that it's still there. What do I do? Can you ask her next time? And I never did because,
okay.
So if he's watching, I don't, do you know anything about?
Absolutely.
I guess my question is, number one, can objects carry negative energy? And second, can you elaborate a little bit on Santa Muerte if you know anything about that? Mm-hmm. Please.
Okay. So Santa Muerte is definitely of Santeria, and this is a type of form of witchcraft that is more from the Latin culture. And there are promises, just like the Catholic Church. Okay, so people say there's Jesus and there's the devil, then there's Santa Muerte, then there's also the Virgencita. Okay. Either way, if you choose to make a promise to a figure, it can possess energy because it's representing. Okay. There are things that I create, voodoo dolls, statues, that I push energy into them for protection. Okay. So this man chose to take this image, this doll home, right? Okay. So he's saying, with my heart, this is what I want. I want this, I want that, I want that. But somewhere along the line, he becomes afraid because there's other things that are happening because he's not taking care of what he promised. So it really falls back on the person's promise. So I always tell people, if you're going to get into something like that, set a timeline. Set a timeline, because this stuff is very real. And this is why there's witches that are showing you how to do these things, because they want you to fail. And there's other people that are, then there's those fake witches that are just, too much. But this is the real deal, okay? If you make a promise, keep it. Yeah. That's why I say my vows are very sacred. People are like, well, I'm going to convert you and I'm going to this and that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Even the ring that I wear, I wear it on my wedding hand because I am married into my coven, because I chose it. I chose to do my vows. I chose, and they're like, did you sell your soul? Well, yes, I did, But selling the soul symbolizes just a love and appreciation, okay? So if you're taking something home, you're making a vow. You're making a promise. And you need to stick to that promise. And if something bad happens to you and later on you want to reverse it or you want to get rid of it, then I'm sorry. You promised. Keep your promise and fulfill that promise.
Because from what I understood from this email, and if I still have it, I'll forward it to you. Okay. From what I understood, that somebody sold them the idea, buy the statue, and fortune will come. So I guess he's thinking if I just, have it in my room, money's just gonna fall.
Oh, yeah, no.
See, that's from what I understood, that's what he was sold. And he saw that his girl started seeing things, started noticing things, and it wasn't good at all. And he, I guess, felt like it all started when I brought that back. You know, I started losing my girl, my friends, and no money was coming in. He goes, "Can you just ask her for these things for me?" And I was just like, "All right, cool. Thank you for watching Freaky Tales, blah blah blah. We'll be back on next time."
He's got to keep that promise, and I mean, if all it was I just want fortune. So this is where I kind of intervene too.
Okay.
Is people are like, you know what? Just like him, I got sold on this stuff, and I'm like, okay, so what was your contract? They didn't have a contract.
Okay.
So then that's where I step in and I intercede. So my clients don't get hit. I'm going to take the hits. Okay. And I take a lot of hits. Okay. I've had L1 transverse fracture. I've had things happen to me because these people I am fighting for on a much more intense level. So I will have to tell the demon or tell whoever they made the pact with, the devil, Lucifer, whoever, this person's heart is pure. Release them through their contract. And I promise you, they will fulfill this. So I have to make sure that person's keeping their word.
Okay.
So they have to sign now a contract with me because I'm going to take some big hits. And this stuff does not come cheap. I will tell you that. But it is very real. They're already going through conflict in their house, death, sickness, disease. And no kidding, they say the minute that you finished what you did, everything stopped. Because I made sure they fulfilled or redid a new contract.
It's funny you said death, sickness, and disease. He didn't use the disease, but he said death, sickness, and there was another word, and he included that in that email. So if you're watching,
yeah, I'm
here she
picking up
is.
On your energy, brother.
Yeah, here she is, and now you can reach out to her. But but to me, I do believe that certain objects do carry some energy. That's why, believe it or not, I'm very careful what I buy, either at secondhand stores, antique stores, yard sales, or whatever, because you don't know what you're bringing in. You know. So,
I mean, like Spirit had to tell me, the things that you do for people. People are always going to find some negativity in it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Spirit reminded me, look, they even nailed Jesus to a cross. And people are like, Jesus came and he died for my sins and he did. Yeah, he bought all your contracts. Do I believe in Jesus? Yes, I do. Do I believe in God? Yes, I do. Do I believe in a lot of the different cultures and religions that are? Yes, I do. A lot of stuff is very real.
Right.
And there's the new generation like me. It's like, whoa, those were just stories. But then when you see something manifested that's coming, it's hard to believe.
Right.
Until later on I'm dead and somebody pulls up a Freaky Tale podcast. They're like, oh my God.
The story is documented.
Right? It's documented. I told you so.
Now, have you ever met, you being a witch, have you ever met a person that possibly, let's just say, again, a hypothetical scenario, but here's the question. Comes, sits down next to you, and hey, do my reading. And for some reason, there was something about them that possibly scared you. Have you ever been scared of people in a sense where, like, there's something heavy with this person? Can you care to share elaborate a little bit?
There's been people where Spirit will show me that they're about to do something really, really horrible.
Oh. And
that is where I had to learn no weapons formed against me shall prosper. I have been hurt. I'm not going to lie, my family even knows, I've been kidnapped, I've been stripped because people were afraid of me. And they tried to stop me so they couldn't be stopped. Okay?
Yeah.
And I still had to give the message regardless. You can kill the body, but you can never kill the spirit. I'm going to tell you that much.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call them out. I know what you're doing. I know what's happening. And this is what's going to happen to you. And some people are like, oh, but I sold my soul to Satan. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because I'm going to make sure you suffer here and more times after.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a picnic. Because, see, there's something also. Remember I told you that our bodies are energy?
Yes,
and we run on time?
Yes.
My time is not this time. I can see past, present, future. I could go to the future. I can pull energy from that. And somebody had even asked me too, one of my clients, so did you like literally go to the future and see this happening? And I'm like, yeah, I did. And this is what was to come. And then I tell him about the past. You know, his father came and his father was sitting there watching from a distance, because I'm sitting there with his father and I'm feeling his father's energy, his father showing me through spirit, but I'm physically there with his father watching his son grow up from a distance, and so bad he wanted to talk to them, but other people were stopping him from talking to his son. So I told him that, and he said, everything you said was correct, because my father told me I'm not allowed to talk to you because of them, and I never understood it, and I never told anybody that. And so when I start to see people about ready to do something in the future, it's like I'm going to stop it, you know, and I'm going to make sure they're stopped.
I had this one person, I think it was on my last Instagram page, because this is like my 5th one, because I don't know if it's just haters or what, keep reporting my page. But I had this one female, I don't know who she was, but it wasn't like a fake page, and she DM'd me and told me, she sent me a picture of voodoo, like of a doll, a pentagram, candles, and everything like that. And I was like, what the hell, you're going to try to curse me through the internet? You know, like I didn't get it. Then the next time she sent me another one, just a voodoo doll, and she put, this is you, you know, and I was like, cool. That's all I did. I'm a smart Alex, so I'm like, cool. So then she sent me a picture of food. She goes, the next time you eat something, she goes, it's gonna poison you.
Oh, okay.
You know. So
but you're still here.
Yeah. So you know what I said? Make me a lemon meringue pie. I'm gonna pray over and I'm gonna eat that sucker up.
You're gonna grab You know, it's funny because like I had said, like even when I first met you, there was this particular female around you that was gonna try to destroy you. I just get that all she wanted was just attention. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to transmute this energy and I'm just going to send it back. And from what I know, she's suffering pretty hard. You know, she's suffering pretty hard, no lie. I mean, you know, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, when you're a good person and people are trying to do bad stuff to you, I have every permission in the book to stop them, because I have to take it to my goddess. See, a lot of people just want to go into cemeteries and dig up the dirt and collect this and collect that. Oh, that's why chaos is following you, because you're not respecting the laws. Okay? There are laws. It's like going into somebody's house and stealing a vase and taking it home. You know, you're going into death's territory. Death is there to protect the spirits. Death is there to protect the defiled graves and stuff like that. So something is going to happen. That's why people are like, oh, I got a recording on an EMF. You know, it's like, did you even get permission to do that from death? What did you leave death to take that?
Wow.
You know, you just can't go in and take something. Yeah, I mean, I would be pissed too. Somebody comes into my house, you know, takes my watch. It's like, I'm going after you. Come back here.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, we're going to take a 5-minute intermission break. We're going to come right back, and we're going to pick up what we left off, and we're also going to take some calls.
Yes, and the Squid Games, don't forget.
The Squid Games. So we'll be back. Squid Games. So listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on the Friday right before Halloween. So hope you guys got your costume ready, your bags ready, your candy ready, because it's going to be dope this year. So once again, as of right now, this will be the last Freaky Tales of the year till the beginning of the year. So stay tuned, and we'll see you back in 5 minutes. And welcome back, everyone, to Fright Night. You know what? I keep messing up. That's my next one. But this is Freaky Tales. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in on the Friday right before Halloween. I know some of you guys are at home alone, wearing your costume already, your face is painted, eating chocolates and popcorn, okay, with nobody there. And I know you're lonely. But I want to thank you for tuning in. So once again, don't throw that candy bar at the TV. It's okay. We're good. So we're back now with LADIE, and you have a friend.
Yes.
Would you like to introduce your friend?
Well, this is the energy we were talking about.
Okay.
If an object can possess energy.
Okay.
And this particular doll right here does have an attachment.
Okay.
But she's not the one that I'm really concerned about.
Okay.
It's the energy she's carrying. That's my main concern.
So this doll, is it safe to say, has a voodoo doll?
The doll has a voodoo doll. Yes,
Okay.
the doll has a voodoo doll. This particular doll it found its way back to me. She did. And so I'm not going to call her an it, no way. But let me
Right.
turn her more where, you guys can see her. If you notice now, her voodoo doll actually has money.
I noticed
for
that.
the last show. People do come and they ask for things to be done, and they will leave an offering. Now, I'm not allowed to touch those offerings.
Right.
Those are not my offerings to touch.
Right.
People are like, well, then why does the doll get to have money? Your doll's rolling,
She's balling.
She's balling. She could buy a new dress, but no. I love her. But the reason is because money is symbolic. Okay.
Okay.
So many people have a hard time sharing their finances. And they always say, the money is the root to all evil. So it's so hard, like for people that are struggling, they even know, I'm not going to go to that family member to ask for help because they're just going to not help me. Because those people are so attached to their money, they see the money more than the need. So giving to the doll or giving towards the cause, it's you're basically saying, I have faith, I have trust, I just release this energy and it could come back to me.
Okay.
Because you're not supposed to stress about money. We're not supposed to stress about money, okay? We're supposed to stay positive, And so people come and they're like, I'm going to leave this as an offering. And all of a sudden things just happen. So more and more people have been coming since the doll has been on the show. They already saw her little case and things, and they're like, oh, are we supposed to leave an offering? No, but the offering is just a symbol for you to make promises. The Santa Muerta, some people have her just adorned with real gold, with the finest perfume.
Yes.
And you cannot mix those energies in with another doll or another energy. You cannot take what's on that altar because that was left of love. There's even a church in New Mexico, okay? And people will travel on their hands and knees. And because their kids are sick or whatever, they will leave those crutches there. Or they will leave the braces and they will leave the wheelchair.
Right.
And that stuff never gets taken out because that was an act of faith that their loved one or themselves were going to get healed. So this church is not going to turn around and take all those things and give it to donation.
Right.
Because that's a sacred prayer. So that's something very sacred. And so this is the same thing as these particular type of dolls. My doll has offered me so much protection. I do have other things around my house that are charged. I have gargoyles. I have, just any shiny object. I'm not going to tell you what objects those are.
Right. Just to interject really quick, if somebody were to go to your house, let's just say, and you know that they're not supposed to touch something. And let's just say you said, I'll be back, I'm going to go to the restroom, I'm going to go to my room to get something. And let's just say he doesn't know and he just thinks that, innocently, that the antique doll, wow, this doll could possibly be worth something. And you come out and he has the voodoo doll and then your doll. Can anything happen to him when him not knowing or innocently?
Well, if it's innocently, that energy is not going to transmit malpractice it's not going to interject anything negative.
Okay.
So the doll is going to be like, it's going to feel the energy.
Okay.
But if there's a person with negative energy in the house that wants to take something, automatically it's self-defense. And that's what I say. She's going to perform self-defense. A very funny story. This is crazy. There was a person, I'm not going to say who, but he was being very rude and sarcastic in my house because, you know, he's like, ooh, you know, all your stuff. And so he was joking around and he, by accidentally, you know, bumped the doll's area where she's at. And he's like, and so what? I hit you. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hit you too. So I pick up a shoe and I'm going to throw it at him. So he runs to the backyard, and there's like a little short fence that I have where he's just going to jump over. I kid you not. His legs got swept from underneath him. He physically lifted in the air and was slammed down.
Wow.
I just heard this blood-curdling scream. And at first I thought he was kidding. I was like, shut up, you know, like, but I saw the feet, and everybody in the house saw like he was just suspended and then just wham, falls. And we go run over, and he's like rolling around the ground, and he rolls on his back. He has blood all coming down his shirt because he was slammed down on a rose bush that I had just caught. I just trimmed that whole thing down to where it was just a stub. It was it wasn't a rose bush like well, it was a bush, but it had like a lot of those little picas and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I got rid of that bush and I was gonna uproot the whole thing, but I mean, was it coincidence or was it my gal here?
Yeah. What are the odds of that?
Yes.
So just some things are just not to be played with, you know.
Yeah.
Before we get into the Squid Games, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get into that, the movie, like Anabelle, I'm sure you're familiar with those series. Mm-hmm. I know they say based on a true story. I see the one in the movie, obviously looks real wicked, but the real one is like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that doll is real?
I honestly do believe it because I'm going to tell you this. My mother bought me a Raggedy Ann doll. And it's not just that particular doll. I think this company that made the Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls had something to do with voodoo.
Wow.
My doll used to move all over the house. And it was, my grandma was like, you know what, we need to take this doll and, you know, there's something going on with this doll. So when the movie Anabelle came out, I was like, okay, whatever. And then when I saw the real Anabelle, I was like, is that my doll? You know, I was like so freaked out. But I have heard countless stories of people owning a Raggedy Ann and Andy doll that were possessed. I even had this one girl, I had a Ronald McDonald doll too. And that doll would do crazy stuff, no lie. Whoever had a Ronald McDonald doll, you know, but she had the doll and she had told me some stories too. So I believe there's certain companies that are doing this stuff.
Right.
And I mean, they're such big companies and there's a lot of companies that I know for sure.
Right. Okay. Now, I have not seen the Squid Games. I have not. I've heard a lot of good, positive feedback coming from it.
Oh, it's awesome.
I just have not seen it. I know you said you wanted to touch on it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let us know.
See, now I don't want to because I'm going to kill it for you.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Darn it.
Stuff like something else. Stuff like this, I don't mind. So
the Squid Games is really something that I really need to touch on because it has to all do with this energy that I'm telling you about, okay?
Okay.
So I'll just give you the setting, okay? So there are these people that are really hurting, okay? I mean, they're in bad financial situations. They just need money, okay? They're in debt up to their kazoo, okay? Or they have nothing. And these people come to them and they start to play these games and, you know, they win cash. Okay, so they're like, cool. So they say, well, if you want to earn more cash, you know, come to this area. And so everybody willingly comes to this area and they have to play these games. Okay, I'm trying to say without killing it for Tony, okay?
It's all right. It's all right.
They have to play these games. But these games are monstrous.
Really?
They are horrible. Like it's just amazing. But these people are so desperate for cash, they continue to play these games. And it has to be a unanimous vote if they want to stop. But to inspire them to keep going is this big piggy bank that hangs over their head, that they start to dump the money in the piggy bank. So people are like, wait a minute. I did want to quit, but you know what? Now I'm seeing the money and now I don't want to quit. Oh. So they begin to put others in jeopardy. They're given opportunities to leave, but some people are just, they want to do it because they feel they can win that. And this is what I'm talking about, energy. See, in order for us to heal this earth, we need to work unanimously and not play the game into negativity. Because so many are dying because of this game we keep playing to be more powerful, to be richer, to be stronger, to put other people down because they're below us.
Yeah.
We unanimously, as a human species, as this race, we have to say, use your intelligence. We're not going to play this game.
Right.
But because the government or whoever polls of power or told, you know what I mean, all these heads of state want us to continuously play these games.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why they say, if we go back to, like I say, you know, like my tribes and stuff, you know, people are like, well, I own this house and I'm powerful. And this is like, no, you don't. You're still on my land. What are you talking about? You know?
Right.
That was my land, you know?
Right.
You don't know nothing. Everything back in those days were of bartering, trading, and they shared.
Right.
Now
right.
you don't see that. You don't see that anymore.
Right.
You know, and if I give you something, what am I going to get out of it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so people are seeing this channels of hate crimes, or, you know, these racists, and they call them Karens, or they call them, you know, this and that. And it's okay for them to say this, you know, just all this negativity they're feeding into. But you are choosing to play that game. And there's no guarantee that you're going to survive or your offspring, because you're setting up such a world of chaos that maybe later on, it's your kids that are going to have to pay for your game.
Wow. That's, I can go on from there because, you know, growing up as a maybe 18, 19 years old, I met a guy that he was in the streets, you know, he was active, I'll just say that, and he's always selling dope, and he always told me, you know, there's only one way in and one way out. I mean, you only get two choices: it's dead or in jail. He said, dead or in jail. But he said that's what I wanted to play that game.
Yeah, he chose it.
Yeah, he chose it, and he ended up dying.
Yeah.
He ended up getting killed.
That's why I was so big on gang youth intervention. In Oxnard, there is a place called the Residence Program. Within that space, there is a full-blown music studio, because Barrio Productions had put it together, and it was to do gang youth intervention. We got these kids together because they only saw that choice.
Yeah.
This is when I was really heavy into music and rapping and everything. You'll see me rapping on there. You know, I wrote the song, they produced it, but the kids wrote the story. And they were talking about this is the only way: pregnancy, drugs, or jail, or death.
Yeah.
And what they saw every single day. But by us coming in and building that studio in the barrio, was freaking amazing. These kids went on to college. They learned to do radio. They learned to do broadcasting. I mean, they've learned to do some of the biggest things. And a lot of them still support me, which is crazy. You know, they're like, you know what, I remember back in the day, you know? And I mean, they said if it wasn't for that intervention. So people, you do have a choice.
Yeah.
Don't ever feel that you don't. And they're like, you know, you've never been in my situation before. No, maybe I haven't been in your particular situation, but I know energies can be broken. Yeah. You just have to be willing to stop playing the game and have faith. And
like what you said, they're possibly setting up their kids to play that game because, you know, here's another one, and without mentioning the person's name, this individual hated white people, okay? He was, you know, he clung to his native roots, you know, and gave all his children native names. Fine, I know a problem with that. But here's what that I didn't like. One day I go to his house, and, you know, his kids are watching TV, and then a commercial comes on, and I hear one of the kids, and there were maybe about, I want to say 7, maybe, and 10, somewhere around there. Change that white man.
Yeah.
Change that devil. So then I just, after so much, I listened, I said, who said he was a devil?
Right.
He goes, they used to call me uncle. Uncle, you know what the white man did to us?
Yep.
And I didn't say nothing to them, but I spoke to the dad. I said, dude,
right.
you're setting them up for, I'm educating them.
Educating. No, you're passing hate.
Yes.
And it was so funny because like there was a lot of emails that I've gotten during the riots, even from some of my own family. I have family back east even. And I mean, they're college professors and they're pastors. Okay. Yeah. I have family that are pastors, and they were saying all of this stuff. And, you don't see the oppression and this and that we've been through. But you see, wait a minute, we share the same father. Okay. This is my stepfather, but my stepfather came, with Martin Luther King and all of this movement, He told me, you don't feed into that energy, because he was black and my mother, was, Latina and Shoshone. Well, he was full-blown Cherokee and black, but people would see them together, and sometimes, it would make me feel uncomfortable. Even coming around some of my own family members, they were like, oh my God. But he said, no, you don't act ignorant. What you're going to do is you're just going to show them who you really are. You're going to smile and you're going to say, have a good day. And I tell you, I don't think I've ever made a single enemy by listening. I'm going to write a book about all of my father's teachings, no lie, and all of my grandmother, what they taught me, because it's nothing about negative stuff. When people come at you with like knives and axes, it's about diffusing that negative energy. And so many times, like my own family, I told them, you're a pastor and this is what you're preaching. Hate is hate, period.
Hate is hate, period. Yes. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with educating your children, educating the next generation. But when you're telling them all those guys are devils,
right?
I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. Let's be honest. If we really want to nitpick, there's devils in our raza.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere. I mean, and I'm please, I don't mean to offend anybody, but there's just always the good, the bad, the ugly in every culture.
Yes.
Okay, in every culture. One person can ruin it for the whole dozen, or, I grew up with those type of people and I grew up in this type of environment. Yeah, but what about those people that didn't live in that environment, but the other side of the street or the other side that wasn't like that,
Right.
So you have to break that mindset. And to be honest, that's actually a stronghold against a person. That is like a negative, and those spirits come and they attach because like likes like. Okay, now what I mean by that, like people hear birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
They're going to start to find people that will feed their egos. And that's not good. And so this is just like the Squid Games. All of a sudden these people want the money. And hey, do you want to play? Yeah. Do you want to play? Yeah. So they're like, okay. So now they got their big group and they're together and they're feeding into this game that they can win.
Wow.
And it's so sad because at the end, there's only like one person that can win. I think it was out of like 800 people or 900 people, only one person. And this is what the world is doing.
Yeah.
We're choosing to play into this game.
Yeah. Yeah. What is one thing, if anything, that people that have watched it or are going to watch it after,
you guys have to watch it.
What is one thing that we can learn from that? It's pretty much, I know it's self-explanatory. I know you shared it. Don't play into the game, pretty much.
Pretty much. Don't play into the game, and you're the master of your own choices.
Yeah.
I mean, even when people say, well, the victim mentality. All I ever try to do for you is care, but you do this to me and you make me angry. No, they don't make you angry. Maybe what they say, but you're still choosing to be angry.
Yeah.
So you're giving your energy to that person.
Right.
Right. And you don't have to play into that game. You have a choice to opt out, meaning that you just got to find ways to diffuse it. But we live in the same household and they're constantly great. So become independent where you don't have to live in that house.
Yes.
Start using, go wash car windows. I mean, some of these homeless people just amaze me. I mean, they have their own communities, but every day they're like washing car windows. they're making something out of nothing, you know.
Right.
Families that live in hotels, things like that. Like, I'm just blown away because they are back to the basics. And then I get these clients that are like, they own so much property in Bali and Dubai and all this other stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm going to slit my wrist," and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
like,
exactly.
What are you talking about? It's amazing. And then I start telling them, you know what? We can transmute this energy into something positive where you feel great about it.
You know, two types of people that I ran into, you know, in my life. I ran into people that we would say in Spanish, esa persona es una persona buena. That's a good person, okay? And I've met people, I'll just use the name like John. I would meet a guy like John, and I would meet his friend. I would meet his brother. I would meet his friend, and just genuinely great people to be around. We could watch a football game. You know, we're all just laughing and enjoying the game. I don't have to watch my back around these people. Then there's people that I've known that, and the only reason why I remained friends with this one person was simply because I've known him since childhood. But he is just horrible, you know, you know, F this fool, F this motherfucker, you know, and that bitch, and just nothing, spewing nothing but hatred. And then I meet his friend, who is just like him.
Just like him.
Okay. Then I go to like a get together or so, and I meet like 5 people that he's hanging around with, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
Like, it almost seems like one is worse and worse and worse. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So my question is this: if all of those people have that same terrible negative, and how did they find each other?
Yeah, like I told you, like. It's just, you know, they feed off of one another, and they want to keep, you know, they want somebody to like feed their ego. And let me just tell you guys something that's just offhand, because I've had this happen to me before, okay, where people are like, "Oh my God, this person, she's so wonderful. Oh, she does all this great stuff, and we're going to support her." And they'll follow her around like a little puppy dog, you know, and this and that, and they want to dress like her, they want to have the same handbag.
Yeah.
But the minute she doesn't like somebody, "Oh, we don't like that either, and we don't like this and that." And I'm like, well, what's so great about this person? So you need to use wisdom.
Thank you.
Okay? Because like Harry Potter, for instance, remember that teacher with the cats and the little cup of tea?
Yes.
I have it on my Facebook. Those are the people I worry about. You know, those are the people I worry about. Negative people will always show you what's on their shoulder.
Yeah.
So you can decide, hey, do I want to kick it with this person or not? But either way, they're going to tell you the truth. Okay. They're going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not.
Right.
But it's the other people that are like, "Oh, tell me. So, how do you feel about And the next thing you know,
Yeah.
and that's really bad.
Yeah, because and that was maybe about 5 years ago, where I went to this one individual's house. He had a barbecue, and every single one of them, as soon as one walked away, they started talking about that guy. The other guy walked away, started talking about that guy, and I'm like, everybody here is worse.
It's funny because you say a male, and no lie, males can be worse than females. I mean, they know the best gossip ever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have gay friends that are guys, and it's like, whoa, that's like double trouble right there. They're like, girl, no way. So, I mean, it's crazy, but you know, you don't think guys are like the biggest chismosos out there because they're hearing their wives or they're hearing their mothers, and then next thing you know, they're taking it to the street, and they can destroy a person's reputation.
Yes.
You know, where girls are more emotional, so we'll be like, you know, like right away, real quick, you know, quick with the fiery temper.
Right.
You know, where males are very quiet, and then next thing you know, like, it's really hurtful, you know.
Is it possible that possibly their energy attracts another person with that same energy, and that's how they become friends?
Absolutely. I really feel that, because that's how, you know, it's just how people run, you know.
Right.
And likes, you know.
Right.
And so there's a theory I like to call the crab pit.
Okay.
So this is exactly what you're talking about. A long time ago, fishermen never needed to put crabs that they catch out in sea in a trap or in a bucket or anything. They would just dig this big hole in the sand, and they would dump the crabs in there. They would go back out to sea. They would come back and dump the crabs in the sand, and not one crab would be missing. Why is that, you think?
Yes.
Every time one of the crabs tried to leave the pit, another crab would reach up and pull it right back down. So, are we crabs? We're supposed to be the most intelligent species on this planet. But why do we feed into this energy? Why do we allow ourselves to continuously feed into negativity and hate because of our race, color, or religion? That is so primitive.
Yes.
You know, we need to evolve.
Yeah.
We need to really take things like, I mean, come on. Nobody noticed that Texas had like this huge major freeze because the ice caps are melting. Oh, that was nothing, you know? Oh, they just got a little cold. No, people died, okay? Okay? These are real things that we need to be more concerned about. We need to be more concerned about putting our love and energy back into this planet, back into humanity, for the sake of our offspring and for the sake of our existence. Because I'm going to tell you this, what really scares me, I honestly feel that this species is going to have a time limit. And I mean that with all my heart. Well, when's the time, lady? When's the time? That's not for me to say.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you this. Pretty soon, people like me are not going to exist.
I know what you're saying.
Because that's when spirit is going to step out and say, have at it. I've tried so much to send my messengers to you. I've tried so much on every level to try to help you. You still chose the path of anger and destruction.
Yeah. Then there's a different type of friend that he's negative. I'll even say the word bad and possibly even evil. And I'll give you a good example where I learned this from. And these are the people, I believe, that hide it very, very well. And only possibly a few people catch on to that certain type of person. Now, many years ago, I read one of the Gospels, okay, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we all know the story. If people believe it, whether the Bible's true or not, just allow me to elaborate. I read a story that Judas followed Jesus. He was one of the 12 for like about 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. And at the meal that we call the Last Supper, which was actually the Passover meal, mm-hmm. the night before he was crucified, Jesus says this, and this is the part that stood out to me, and I'm thinking to myself, and nobody saw it. He said, one of you here will betray me. Mm-hmm. That's what he said. And there was 12 disciples. I've read that several times, but finally when I reread it again, the disciples all started to ask amongst each other, or even asking Jesus, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Okay. The whole time, Jesus knew that it was Judas. Okay. He knew. But the disciples didn't. What that taught me, that for 3.5 years, Judas knew how to hide it very well.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I'm telling you. There's people that I see that are just so angels of light, I like to call them. Angels of light. They're in the community, they're doing great, they're doing that. But then the minute I start to expose stuff, automatically hang her.
Yes.
Hang her, get rid of her. She's bad, she's evil, she's pointing something out. She's changing the mindset. She's causing a disruption in the force, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's bad, you know. But it's the truth, and some people don't know how to handle the truth. And there are people that hide amongst us that are there strictly to cause chaos.
Yes,
and that's just where we are constantly being tested and tried. And you know, before, you know, I chose, you know, the right-hand path. I mean, my family had put me into everything. They made me become a CCD teacher. They made me, you know, do all kinds of, you know, I was in the church. I was a leader in the church, you know. I really love the fact of going out and finding what they call the treasures out of darkness. I mean, you know, but then I started seeing things in the church and people are like, you're not supposed to keep focused on that. You're supposed to keep your eyes on God, eyes on God, eyes on God. But you're like, no, this is not right. And I had to just separate. Yeah. And then people are like, you're not allowed to use your gifts because they're demonic. How is it demonic? I know why. Because people were starting to leave the crab pit and things are beginning to happen. So they're like, you know, now I don't knock churches. I mean, a lot of times when people come with addictions and stuff, I'll put them in a men's home, no lie, because you got to learn to pray. You got to learn to get a hold of spirit, which is pray 24/7. We pray more than most people every day. I I feel the energy of wind. I can conjure wind. I'm just so connected spiritually with things. And it's because of love. It's that love, pure energy. Animals come up to me and they're like, oh, she's Snow White. You know? Yes, and the seven doors follow. But it's true, you know, and just like when babies walk up to you or animals walk up to you, they're feeling something good. You know, if a kid doesn't want to get near somebody or an animal's like growling or snarling, it's like you need to pay attention to that because this person's putting out a certain type of energy. Right. Oh, but stop it, don't do that. That's Theo so-and-so or that's Auntie so-and-so. You know, you stop barking at them. Well, the dog's trying to tell you something. They're picking up an energy from them. You need to pay attention.
Yeah, you know, and that's another thing. I do believe that animals can pick up on things like that. Mm-hmm. I believe that they're very sensitive to those type of things. I've seen it, though I have to confess I was never raised with animals, but I've been around enough dogs, 'cause all my friends raised pit bulls or whatever. Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, they'll start barking. I was like, what is that? Oh, he feels something, or he hears something, or he senses something. Yeah. And it's true. I even think, and I say, again, I think because I don't know, but I even think that even children pick up on things.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're of that innocent energy where negativity isn't injected into them. Mm-hmm. So they're still using their spidey senses, I want to say. Yeah. Like every time I do a spell and I know something good's going to come out of it, my goddess will always send me something. So I live out in like the ocean area. Uh-huh. All of a sudden I'll just hear a bunch of seals barking. You know, like, and I'm like, all right, that feels good. You know, wind starts to blow. Or I leave my office and somebody has been cleansed and healed. And then a bunch of crows will just start coming. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? You know? And I'm like, it's just a sign for me that, you know, this is good. And people are afraid of crows. I'm not going to lie. They're so afraid of crows. They believe that, oh, that's bad because it's black and it's evil. Let me tell you something. God used a crow to feed Elijah. Okay, Elijah is amazing. My two sons are named Noah and Elijah because they're like, but you're a witch. Yeah, but they were so amazing. Yeah. Because they trusted and they loved and they believed in spirit, you know, and they were just like on it. And even Elijah had such confidence and God used a crow to feed a servant. And that's why, I mean, still to this day, I love crows. So it's really the mindset that we have to break about all of this, you know, she's bad, he's good. You know, you need to sit around and really use your wisdom. You know?
I'm glad you said you use wisdom because many times, you know, if I may go back to the story of Judas, and the reason why he sticks out so much to me is because I've learned so much from reading that one gospel that for 3.5 years he hid it well that not even the disciples knew. Yeah. But Jesus knew who it was. But I mean, he hid it so well that the disciples began to question themselves, is it me? Mm-hmm. And here's the crazy part. That, again, whether people believe the story or not, I'm just sharing what I've read. Jesus knew he was a thief and still let him hold the purse. Mm-hmm. Okay? Still let him hold the purse. Here's my thing. And I think it kind of ties in with the squid games is because when Jesus told him that what you do, go do. And he said when he got up, the next scripture actually scared the daylights out of me because it said, and Satan entered into him. Mm-hmm. Now, he was about to go collect those 30 pieces of silver to betray him. Right. Okay. Now, you look at the squid games. These are games for money. Right. You know, and I'm thinking, wow, Judas fell into the game.
Yep. And a lot of these rappers or artists are saying, you know, I sold my soul for fame and fortune, you know, and they come to me, you know, how do I get out of it? How do I break this, you know? And I'm helping them, and they're changing their lives around, and they're doing something other than, you know, because money was the root of all evil, or, you know, people come to me, you know, I have this addiction that I can't stop. By the way, anybody who comes to me, please do not post your personal phone number. I know you're desperate. I know you need my help, but do not put your personal phone number up there on any of my pages. I do get back to you. I have a team now that's trying to answer my emails as quickly, okay? But you all have a choice. And when they said Satan entered the heart, it's they're talking about this negative energy, Now I have a theory about Satan and all of that too,
Okay.
So people are like, oh my God, how could you say that, I honestly believe 1/3 of the angels did not fall. I believe that they volunteered, I seriously believe that, because there are things that have been taken out of the context of the text from the Vatican themselves. And it has just been completely distorted. And people are like, oh, it says in the end times that there's going to be a false prophet. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. We're not in the end times yet. We are not. Okay. But there is the truth that needs to be told. And, and the most positive, and even in the Bible, this is one thing I wanted to touch on too. Out of everything, they were asking Jesus, Rabbi, what is the one thing that you want us to learn? Out of all of your teachings, what is the one thing? And you want to know what Jesus told his disciples?
What's that?
Unconditional love. With unconditional love, and it even says it in the Bible, you're not allowed to judge anybody. We cannot judge. With unconditional love, if we really have it, then why would we judge somebody?
Right.
I mean, so it's like hypocrisy.
Right.
So what part of the Bible was put in and what part of it was put out, your spirit will answer that for you. If you see things happening in your church where they're just taking money or they're doing things to have a lot of personal gain, like, whoa, how come that pastor bought this Rolex or something?
Or driving around on a Rolls Royce,
right?
and the
Rolls
church is
Royce,
starving.
or they have a jet, right? And the people, they go trying to get one of their bills paid. We're just going to pray for you.
Yeah, use your
There's
faith.
something wrong there. Okay.
It is. And then the sad thing is when you begin to question it, it's got the troublemaker.
Right. Black sheep.
Yeah. It's got the troublemaker. That's the pastor, he needs to live like this. And it's that.
I love my coven because, yes, everybody benefits off of the blessing, no lie. But then I see so much into the community that's being done.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's just
Right.
like, this is where I need to be. And nobody in my coven walks around saying, oh my God, Gina, did you see the size of her wand? Oh, where did she get that wand from? Like, oh my God. That's not it.
Right. Well, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm not saying this about all churches, but that's part of the reason why I do not attend a church.
Yeah.
I've tried attending churches, and many of them are mega churches.
Yeah.
Mega churches. And, you see the pastor driving around and, in a Rolls Royce, a Rolex, an Armani suit. And many of them that I've seen, and again, I'm not saying this about everyone, I'm
Right.
not, but the ones that I've seen, it's almost like these guys have become celebrities.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck? Like, whatever happened to, I've known people that attend these churches and are hurting.
Yeah.
But you got to give your tithes every month.
Right.
You got to keep.
If you don't give your tithe, then you're going to be this and that. Now, like I said, in my church, we tithe too. And, it's just, that's just left up to a person, and then some people are just takers and, we talk to them,
Right.
like, what is it really that you want to get out of here?
Right,
What is it
right.
that you're trying to gain? Or, we really try to find out a person first, And some people are just like really proactive in like the beach cleanups that we do, or, helping the orphanages and stuff like that. Like they're like, this is where it's at. This is where it's at.
Right,
Again, youth
right.
intervention programs, and they're just for it, And then there's other churches where they're telling me, I went to this church and I asked for my tithe receipt and they said they lost it. Because they wanted to get their income tax back. Because
Right.
remember, if you're tithing to a church, it's taxable. It's towards a charity. You're
Right.
going to get something back. Yes, I just illuminated somebody's head right now. You can ask for a tithing balance.
Right.
And you file that with your income taxes and you get money back from that. And if they're saying, I don't know, I lost it or whatever, that's being dishonest.
Right.
Because, one thing is that you should be able to benefit off of the fruit just like everybody else, and I really see, I mean, the Catholic churches that I see, I do see them like every day doing like toy drives, or they're putting money back into things.
Right.
They
To the
are,
community.
there's some of the Catholic churches, but like I said, it's the same thing with race. You get different,
Right.
it just really depends,
Right, right.
It just, you have to use wisdom once again.
Yeah, yeah. You can't live, or my priest told me, or my pastor told me. No, you have to use wisdom yourself.
Right.
So.
And that's why I tell everybody to look, when I do your cards, this is what Spirit was telling me.
Yes.
That you have the ultimate choice to change.
Right.
Now, if I see somebody dying or whatever, I mean, that you can't change that. It's just because they're like, my aunt's really sick, and I'll just tell them straight out, I'm sorry, but but what you can do for them is this. Okay. So there's some things you just can't do the roundabout, but the majority of the part, but what you can do have the opportunity to change. Okay.
Okay. The reason why I'm touching my phone is because we're about to take some live calls.
Okay, that's awesome.
So I needed to turn on the timer and Bluetooth. So we're on. So Alex, if you can kindly put the phone number on the screen so that the people can call in, and as soon as you call in, give us a little bit of time so they can put our headphones on, adjust the volume.
Run away out of these arms.
Yeah. So.
Tony, hug me.
Yeah. So once again, Alex, go ahead and put the number on there. We got about 15 more minutes, you guys. So we'll take about 3 to 4 phone calls. Please keep it under 2 minutes. I know some of you guys want to share stories, but if you have a question for Lady, please just get to the question. If you have a story, please keep it under 2 minutes. I would hate to cut you off because we only have 15 minutes, and we would want to try to get everybody involved in this. So let me go ahead. Once again, the number is up. Let me go ahead and hook up the Bluetooth once again. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay, hold on 1 second. It's connecting. Please enable this device. Wow, I think. Okay, it's done. Let me go to settings because I believe I have to do something in the settings. Alex, do you remember what we did last time in the settings? Okay, app. Yo, you guys stop calling really quick. Really quick. Let me find the settings, and then I can enable this to work. Because if not, we're not going to be able to take any phone calls. So give us 1 second, you guys. I'm scrolling, but you guys are still calling. So I'm going to have to hang up on you for a second. Okay.
Yeah, you guys just hold tight. I'll get to you. We'll get to you.
Okay. Boom.
And like I said, if you can't get through, definitely hit up my Instagram, which is LADIE, boss, BOSS 143. My website is www.divinecreations.org. Anything that I get from the show or whatever, or, it goes to a charity. So, if we can't get to you today, you can hit me up another way.
Okay. I believe I'm there. So, no, it just says microphone access enabled. Please enable in device. So I'm trying to, but you guys keep calling. So give me 1 second, you guys. I thought I did already. Give me 1 second. Somebody keeps calling and it's like bugging me. Yo, give us 1 second. Okay, I'm trying to get to this.
I'm going to try to move her energy too as well. So
okay.
Put her to the side.
Boom.
Remember, she's a protection doll, so.
Yes, okay, permission. Okay, it's phone or microphone. Did I allow me using this app? Okay.
My cards.
Okay, so we're going to try this again. Once again, somebody call. Let's see if I can pick it up. Okay. Okay, I should be able. Here we go. Let's get this.
All right.
Hello?
Hello. How you doing? What's your name and where you calling from?
Roy Rendon, calling from Whittier.
How you doing, Roy?
I'm good, Tony. Calling from Whittier.
Oh, yes. Whittier is in the building. Do you have a question for Lady or a story you want to share?
I got a story for Lady Tuber. Maybe she could. I don't know. I had this thing that happened to me maybe like 35 years ago.
Okay.
Back in 1991, 1992. And so I'm a little nervous. Hold on. And this was this happened in Redlands in a boys' home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one day my roommate left on a home pass, and I experienced something in that room. And the room was pitch black. Something was in the room. I don't know. I seen something, and a couple things happened. I froze, like I was paralyzed, and also I was like in like a lot of sweat, like I was sweating like really really heavy, and I had this astral, what do you call it, astral, when your body lifts.
Yeah, like an out of
I was
body.
pretty much floating around the room.
Yes.
Yeah, out of body. I was floating around the room, and I could see the staff, and then I came back into the room, and I was trying to float back into my body, but my heart was beating like really, really fast. And I knew there was something in that room. I just couldn't explain what it was.
It's so crazy that you said that you were in a boys' home, because I actually had to go clear out something similar. It was a place called Boys Town back in the day. And we found out that there was...
the one I was...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We found out that there was witchcraft that was actually being practiced there, but not the type of witchcraft. It was people that were playing around with things and leaving portals open. It was these kids that were getting together playing the Ouija board. But your particular instance was you did have an encounter with a portal, but you also astral projected. So the paralysis that you had felt trying to come into your body was just your spirit trying to come in way too fast. And so a lot of people, when they're extremely tired, or if they've just got like ADHD, a lot of people that have that where they can't sleep good, or sleep apnea, they wake up in these panic shock attacks where they can't move, they can't breathe, they can't speak, they can't, because they're astral projecting like you did. You're walking around, you're seeing everybody, and then you try to come back into your body so fast. It's like you can't move, you can't breathe. Whenever I do energy works for people, where I'm removing stuff off of them, I sit them up slowly. I said, do not get off the bed yet. Here's some water. Yeah. But you're going to feel dizzy. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel like you just woke up in the morning after I do my cleansings. So you're not supposed to come back so fast, you know. You got to really take your time with this. So, you know, I definitely feel that, you know, you do have that gift and that ability. And positive energy can manifest more in your life because you're starting to develop your skills. And astral projection is really a good thing, because you just ask spirit, show you the intentions of people, and it'll actually take you to their home or somewhere where you're seeing what they're doing. Because right now I get a lot of people that are gossiping, talking. There's a particular female that's around you and she's not bringing you good energy. Okay. This is something that you have to constantly push with her, but you guys are on like different ends of the spectrum. Does this make sense? Okay. You're like hot and she's like cold. Okay. So, so that astral projection definitely would come in handy right now, you know?
Awesome.
Got you. Yeah. Cause going back to that story, when I came back down, actually, when I woke up the next morning, I was at the edge of the bed about to fall, because I felt that entity or something that was in the room slowly pushed me off my bed. Mm-hmm. And I didn't actually fall, but my fingers grasped onto the sheet. Mm-hmm. And the next morning when I woke up, I was about to fall off the bed.
Yeah, those are portal energy. Sometimes you'll just feel the energy of the portal. I don't feel there was anything in the room but the portal of just the energy being open. Yeah. So you guys have heard of like the Bermuda Triangle, yes, or the black hole, where you get sucked into these openings, and this is what was happening with you. You were getting sucked into an energy, and your spirit said, fight or flight, buddy. You know, we got to get out of here, you know?
Okay, Roy.
So it was a portal, but it wasn't something that was in the back. Because I know in the back of that boys' home was like a wash. And it was like the houses was like a mile, like each house was like a mile apart from each other during that time. Yeah, so
water is a conductor. Water is an electrical conductor, and the ocean is like my biggest mirror for portals ever. You know, and so water or electricity power lines, those are all setups for portals, for things to come in and out. Most definitely. Yeah.
Okay, Roy, thank you very much. We want to
thank you for calling.
Yes, appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Lady Tour.
You're welcome.
You got it later. Thank you once again for calling. We'll take our next caller. We got a couple of more minutes. Okay, let's take this call. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello, caller. Okay, we're going to hang up. I'm going to try to do that Bluetooth again, Alex. So connect them again. Okay, let's see. Give us 1 second. Okay, it's connecting. Okay, audio's connected. Let's take this call. Hello, caller.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing? How you doing, brother? Where you calling from?
Good, good. Hey, listen, this is Phil Medina. I'm calling from Oxnard. Comic Phil Medina. Hey, I just wanted to say that Lady is absolutely awesome. As I'm watching this right now, I have used her services. She's one of my dearest friends. And I'm not going to keep you guys very long. I just want to tell you guys, anybody watching this right now, make sure you get a hold of Lady. She is the best of the best. She has saved me so many times. So make sure you guys get a hold of her. She's absolutely awesome.
That's awesome.
Love your show. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you.
Awesome. You know, Phil is one of the most biggest comics out there in the Oxnard area. Him and Big Cedric, they're actually going to be doing this amazing show. I mean, they're going to be doing a lot of saving with their laugh energy. And I'm going to talk to you guys more about that after the show. Okay. And what you guys are going to get if you attend this show. I mean, Phil Medina, he doesn't lie. He was and is definitely a client of mine. And he's such a blessing. Thank you, Phil.
Awesome. Okay.
You made me blush.
We're going to go ahead and take one more phone call because we're going to be running out of time. So whoever wants to call, go ahead and call right now. We've had a lot of missed calls simply because of what happened with the connection. But who's going to be the last caller on Freaky Tales for this year? Go ahead and call right now. Take the next call. If not, we're going. Okay, here we go. We got this one call. Hello, and where are you calling from? Hello? Okay, I got to try something once again. Hold on 1 second, because for some reason, every time we take a call, we lose the Bluetooth. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hello? Okay. It's not connected. Give us a 1 second. I don't know why we always go through this.
My energy.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's connecting. Okay, it's connected. Okay, let's go with that phone call again. Let's see. Okay. Hello? Hello?
Tony?
Yes. Where are you calling from?
Calling from the Oregon coast.
Okay, how you doing?
Not bad, man. Want to start off by throwing you a huge shout out for what you've done for our people in terms of building these formats, Rhodium Radio and also Freaky Tales.
Thank you.
Yes.
Huge fan of the music and huge fan of these platforms.
Thank you.
So much respect to you for that. I wanted to call, and I had a story about something that happened to me when I was a little kid. There was this puppet. It was this puppet doll, this ventriloquist doll that I wanted. I saw it, man. I fixated on it. And I wanted to get it. And I was bugging my mom. I said, hey, I want this thing. It was a puppet. And the name of it was a Charlie McCarthy ventriloquist puppet doll. It's a real thing.
The little bow tie and stuff.
I don't know if you've heard of Charlie McCarthy.
Yes.
It's an old puppet from back in, I guess back to the 50s or something.
Yeah.
And I must have been, I don't know, man. I was probably 9, 10 years old. Maybe 8 or 9 or 10 years old.
Okay.
And I saw this puppet. And I was bugging my parents. I was bugging my dad. Thought I was nuts. He goes, "You're not getting that thing. It's a piece of shit." And I got it. My mom gave in. She goes, "You know what, mijo, we're gonna get you. I'm gonna let you get this. It's kind of cute, whatever. It's a little puppet." It was a Charlie McCarthy ventriloquist doll.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it. I'm going to make a long story short.
Okay.
This thing was creepy looking. It was different, man. I mean, the hell with Chucky. This was the real thing. Had a top hat. It's supposed to be. All my cousins hated it. Hell, the family hated it. Nobody wanted to look at it. Why did they get you that? This is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And things started to happen. Okay, it's not a fake thing. It's not a fake story.
Okay.
This puppet, this thing, you could look it up. You could find it. Google it when you get a chance. You can get an idea of what this thing looked like. It started to move around all over the house.
Mm-hmm.
It was in one room, and this would happen. This would happen at night. The family would go to sleep. This thing's in one room. We wake up, and it's in the garage. Nobody was in the garage, and the family had enough. My parents, my parents are Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Christ believers. That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
And they said, we've had enough. My mom said, well, we're going to throw it in the trash. It's done. Something's wrong. It's different. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's demonic. And so she threw it away. I go, man, well, whatever. I wasn't overly attached to it. It was a thing. I used to pull the string in the back, make them a little mouth talk. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I said, all right, it's gone. Done. This thing, she throws it in the trash. She threw it in the physical trash can. This thing reappeared. It's not a fake thing. It was in the garage. Later, probably could have been a month later, it was gone. No one had seen it. Yeah, they threw it out. This thing popped back up. It was in the garage. It was in the back. It was like somebody had taken it out. It was the weirdest thing. Nobody wanted it. And I got to tell you, I'm going to finish off. We don't got much time. I kept the puppet, Tony. Still got it.
You still got it?
There was something about it. I still got it.
Does it still move around?
I was just going to ask that. Is it still dancing?
Does it still move around?
One thing about things that are possessed is they do have the tendency to move around on their own. That is definitely for sure.
Yeah.
And they always find a way back to you. Like my doll, for instance, since a child, it's like the same story here, and it found its way back to me. So, and I'm not going to knock anything here, but these energies do have a way of moving things, and making objects, move around and happen. I don't know if you ever heard of the ventriloquist, Jeff Dunham. Have you ever heard of him?
Sounds familiar.
So he does like the character Peanut and Bubba J, and he does all these awesome ventriloquist acts. And one thing that stood out to me during an interview where he's just like, well, Bubba J doesn't like that, or Peanut doesn't like that, and he's speaking about his puppets having life, which is so true. So he's like, whenever I travel, he just goes through this whole monologue about how these puppets are alive, and he's just the voice that like he's feeling their energy, but he's just projecting what they're saying. Another good thing is like the movie Frozen. Have you seen Frozen?
Yes.
So remember the moose, how the moose doesn't have a voice, but the man is speaking for the moose. Mm-hmm. So these are sometimes what these puppets do. It's like you feel their energy and you become their voice and their mouthpiece.
Wow.
So so that's probably why you still have your puppet, But
yeah, man. You know what? Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing that.
If I could encourage you to do something, I want you to look into it. Okay. I want you to possibly start your own podcast because you got a great storytelling voice, man.
Ooh, I know, huh?
So
Alfred Hitchcock presents.
Tony, I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And once again, thank you so much for everything that you've done for our people.
Thank you.
We recognize you. We see you. We see you, homie. We see what you've done.
Absolutely.
And you've had the courage to break through to the other side and have all of our raza, whether they were from the top of the state or the bottom homes, and bring everybody. And we love you for it.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, man.
Beautiful energy.
Yes. Thank you, brother. You have a blessed night now, man. You take care. Thank you for calling and being a part of the show. Your words humble me. Thank you.
Igualmente.
Buenas noches. That was it. That was the last call.
Wow.
And you have now been listening to The Witch and the Wizard. So we want to thank everybody that called in. Once again, that was the last call of the year for right now. I'll give you guys further details if you guys continue to follow me on Instagram at the Freaky Tales Podcast or on Rodian Radio, which is my other podcast. We're going to continue to do that one and Dining with the Wizard. And I also have 2 other ideas for 2 different podcasting, because I eventually would like to do podcasting, if not every day, every other day, because people like to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, people like to watch, but
like this gentleman said, you know, you have captivated an audience and you have really broke the mold, and that is actually really great, because from what I read and what I texted you,
yes.
I mean, this is it, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we can only evolve. It's
Yes.
a form of metamorphosis, and
yes.
you're the wizard to do it.
Thank you.
You used your magic, brother.
and please take her advice, use wisdom, and leave that crabs in a bucket mentality somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So there was something you wanted to share, especially about something you gave me
Yes.
about your birthday.
Yes. So I'm not saying when my birthday is.
Okay.
It is definitely coming up. And as a thank you to a lot of the viewers, and especially yourself, this is why you got one of these candles, is I'm sharing my birthday candle with whoever's watching this audience. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, people would have to buy those online. Okay. But
Right.
the proceeds will go to charities, like I said, that we support, you know,
Yes.
children's orphanages. You can DM me on my Instagram. These candles are wish candles. Okay. And they're specially charged. They're only $25. Okay. But here's the kicker.
Okay.
Phil Medina called in, and I did not expect him to call in. Anthony, Big Citric Compost, my gosh. These guys are going to hold an amazing, groundbreaking Levity Live event. You're going to see people from HBO. I don't want to give away who the lineup's going to be there.
Right.
I don't want to give it away because it's a big surprise. But the first 13 people will get a birthday candle. Okay, they will get a birthday candle, you know, or maybe I just might decide to spread it out to the whole audience, you know. I
Right.
mean, I'm feeling generous. Phil has been an amazing client. I mean, he'll give you his story. I'm going to hold an interview with him, and I held an interview with Cedric too on one of my upcoming podcasts. So it's called Feel the Vibe. So that's another thing that I have coming out.
Dope.
And I actually interview these gentlemen, and I interview other people that I have actually worked for. People that have had poltergeist. So these are real clients. So if I'm going to take you on as a client, you guys just may be on Feel the Vibe.
That's awesome.
Okay. But I got to really thank you, Tony, so much for giving me my platform as well. You know, I mean, you are such a blessing to me.
Thank
and
you.
This is why he has a witch in his corner. And anybody trying to throw negative energy, you better be careful, because, you know.
Back off.
Yeah. What the like
Exactly.
shark tails, you know.
Yeah.
But
And this pumpkin right here,
yes.
I love it.
Yes.
You know one thing that I love about carving pumpkins? I'm going to be honest with you. I always do the traditional, you know, Halloween, the eyes, the nose, and the teeth. But here's one thing that I love, and I think some of you guys will understand. I love putting the candle in it, lighting it, and then closing it back up, and then seeing the candle burn the bottom part of the lid. The smell of it.
It smells so good.
It smells so good, and you only get it once a year, you know? And I'm like, oh my God, that's so dope. So, yeah.
Well, this little pumpkin, like I said, it came from my family, and all of the kids, they prayed over it, and
Thank
they
you.
put their blessings inside of it. Flipnote Queen, you can find her at Flipnote Queen. She actually has some artwork for you. She's an amazing artist. You guys may want to follow her on Instagram. She is into anime, and she's actually going to post some stuff for you, Tony.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, you know, her special thank you too for what you've done for us and what you've done for our family.
Oh, thank you.
And
you guys are welcome.
So definitely, you know, that this is blessed and prayed for. When you carve it, it's going to bring a lot of goodness into your family. No contract required.
Okay. Thank you. As a matter of fact, when I carve it and I light it up, I'm going to send you a picture.
That's right.
I'm going to send you a picture.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome.
I want to thank all your fans too. I want to thank all your fans who converted to my fans, and you guys are wonderful. It's you people that have made the show. And just to let you guys know a little snip tip, he is going on to really big places. I'm not gonna lie. He's gonna get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I see it,
Awesome. Hey.
You guys are part of it.
Yes, thank you. So once again, the witch and the wizard coming at you, Freaky Tales. See you guys at the beginning of the year. Have a blessed Halloween. Have a blessed Saturday. Have a blessed weekend. And we'll see you guys soon. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Witch and the Wizard.